Great. We've just finished up a great lunch talk about evaluation. And I kept on thinking as you spoke that there were so many parallels to social media best practices. And in particular, the story you told of the Native people in New Zealand about how they would approach listen, learn, and adapt, which you call developmental evaluation.
Yes, and I'm excited, Beth, that you're making these connections, because that's one of the things that I love to work with, is having people connect out of their own frames of reference and experiences with ways of thinking about evaluation, which is how I came to know the Maori creation story as I was going to New Zealand to work with some Maori people and some New Zealand colleagues and Maori evaluators. And we used the Maori creation story as a way of contextualizing this approach. The Maori creation story begins where Father Sky and Mother Earth were locked in a fierce embrace, such a fierce embrace that no light or very little space between them, and it was into that dark, tight space that their children were born. And over the eons, the children became disgruntled with that tightness and darkness and began conceiving of pushing their parents apart. And to do that, they would need the strength of all of their siblings, and they eventually prevailed upon the strongest of the siblings, Tane, to join them in doing that. He had observed some weaker siblings and younger ones trying to push the parents apart by using their arms, and had figured out that if they were going to be effective, they would all have to lean on one parent and push with their legs on the other parent, put their shoulders into the pushing, which he organized them to do, and they pushed the parents apart. And the first thing he saw was the tears of Father Sky from the separation from his beloved, and that came to represent the rain. And then he saw he had exposed the nakedness of Mother Earth, and was embarrassed in having exposed her nakedness, and began planting trees to cover up that nakedness, but had never planted a tree before. And the first time he did so, he put the leaves in the earth and the roots in the air, and the tree shriveled up and died. So he tried again, this time laying the trees flat on the ground, and again they shriveled up and died. And the third time, they put the roots in the ground and the leaves in the air, and the birds came and the animals came, and he said, that's what I was trying to do. And he proceeded around the world planting trees, and Tane became the Maori god of the forest, which illustrates then a learning approach to getting feedback and listening and adapting that is not what people traditionally associate with evaluation.
Or social media.